prince must never look away from war, not even in times of peace.
Listen carefully, because these words are not theory. They are knives that cut through the illusion you've been living in. Everything you believed about justice, goodness, and destiny is a disguise designed to keep you docile. Today, Machiavelli will speak. And when he does, you'll understand why naive men are meat for wolves. And wolves never ask for permission.
Law 1. The Trap of Justice. The world is not fair, and the sooner you accept this brutal truth, the sooner you'll stop being its victim. As you watch this video, someone less intelligent than you is receiving more respect. Someone weaker than you is wielding more influence. And someone with less talent is living the life you desire simply because they understand the dark psychology of human nature. You've been programmed to play by rules that others broke centuries ago. You were taught to be good, while others were taught to be strategic. You were conditioned to wait for respect, while others took it without asking. The game is rigged, but not the way you think. It is rigged against the naive who believe justice exists. It is rigged against those who believe good intentions weigh more than psychological domination. I saw it in Florence. A governor trusted blindly in the justice of the people. He expected gratitude. But when famine came, those same citizens who once applauded him dragged him through the streets. The people didn't follow justice. They followed their hunger. The naive believed in moral balance. The strategist knew that force tips the scale. And today, just as then, every time you expect fairness, another man is taking what you want. Every time you obey imaginary rules, someone else is rewriting them for their own benefit. Every time you expect reciprocity, a manipulator is already exploiting your predictability. I warned, men must be either treated generously or destroyed, because they take revenge for slight injuries. For grave ones, they cannot. I'm not speaking of physical violence, but of psychological war. When you wound an ego softly, you create an eternal enemy. When you crush it decisively, you force it to accept its place. The most common mistake? Half measures. Setting soft boundaries against aggressive men. Trying to reason with those who only understand self-interest. That makes you the perfect target. Too weak to be feared. Too stubborn to be ignored. What is true psychological domination? Not arguing with those who disrespect you, not begging to be treated better, but making it clear, through actions, that the price of underestimating you is too high. The powerful never negotiate their dignity. They create an environment where respecting them is profitable, and despising them is ruinous. Stop expecting justice from the unjust. Stop begging for nobility from those who only understand power. Remember, justice is a mask. He who chases it, loses. He who wears it, rules. Law 2. Relentless emotional discipline. Weak men think that being ruthless means losing control, shouting, exploding in anger. They are wrong. True strategic cruelty is the opposite, absolute coldness. It is the ability to contain the inner fire and turn it into calculation. The common man reacts. The powerful man responds. The first is dragged by feelings. The second uses them as information, not instructions. Watch. Someone ridicules you in public, exposes a weakness, tarnishes your reputation. The weak defend themselves, explain, justify. By doing so, they confirm their enemy's power. The ruthless strategist does something else. He listens, registers the attack, and then asks himself, what is the response that destroys him socially while elevating my status? Sometimes the response is ignoring him and proving he's beneath your energy. Sometimes it's a cold correction, so precise it makes him look ridiculous. Sometimes it's displaying perfect serenity, so the attack bounces back against him. I saw it in the Italian courts. A nobleman was falsely accused during a banquet. He did not raise his voice. He did not defend himself. He simply drank his wine in silence. The next day, he invited his accuser to negotiate a deal that left him without land and without allies. The one who seemed weak at the table turned out to own the board. Understand this. Predictable fury is a toy in the hands of your enemies. Whoever can drag you into their emotional battlefield has already beaten you. I warned, injuries must be inflicted all at once, so that the blow is decisive. This means that when you respond, do it once, and with enough force that you won't need to repeat it. Never enter wars of attrition, and to dialogue with poison is to let it consume you. Look at those who truly dominate. They don't lose control. They don't argue in circles. They don't twist their faces with rage. Their power lies in the calm others cannot sustain. While the rest burn, they remain ice. That magnetic serenity intimidates more than any scream. Emotional mastery is psychological mastery. When men know they cannot manipulate your mood, they begin to treat you with respect and caution. Remember, he who governs his reaction governs the invisible battlefield of every conflict. Law 3. Respect is worth more than affection. Common men want to be liked. They chase smiles, approval, inclusion. The powerful want something else, respect. Because when others only like you, they feel free to play with your limits. They think you will always forgive. They see you as safe, soft, disposable. But when they respect you, they know there are consequences. They know every offense has a price. They know one misstep could cost more than they're willing to pay. I saw it in my time. A Florentine duke tried to rule by relying on praise. The people loved him until war reached his gates. Then he discovered the truth. Those who love you may abandon you, but those who respect you never dare betray you to your face. He ended deposed and ridiculed. Listen well. Being liked is a small advantage. Being respected is a permanent shield. Ask yourself, in your circle, whom do they consult before deciding? The likable man who pleases everyone, or the man whose opinion is feared and valued? I wrote it bluntly. It is much safer to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both. This does not mean cruelty. It means formidability. That your mere presence forces caution. That your words weigh more than 100 compliments. See the difference. The weak say yes to avoid disappointing. The strong say no without guilt. The weak accept disrespect and stay silent. The strong cut it off firmly. The weak beg for inclusion. The strong make their presence a privilege, not a routine. The key is this: make your approval rare, difficult, coveted. When you stop begging for love, others begin to fight for your recognition. Power is not in likability. Power lies in the perception that you are a man not to be trifled with. Abandon the question, will they like me if I do this? Replace it with, will this act increase my power or diminish it? And if the answer is diminish, eliminate it without hesitation. Likeable men are useful, but forgettable. Respected men are uncomfortable, but impossible to ignore. And in this world, the forgettable die. The uncomfortable survive. Law 4. Decisive action. Most men destroy their influence in the simplest way, with weak and repeated moves. They threaten, they warn, they plead, but never deliver. The result? Everyone learns their words are smoke, and smoke never commands respect. The powerful act differently. They speak little, warn less, and when they strike, their action is so clear and final that no one forgets the lesson. I saw it in Rome. A general forgave his soldiers' disobedience again and again. They learned his threats had no blade. Eventually, his own army abandoned him mid-campaign. Another commander punished the first betrayal with severity, and never had to repeat it. His discipline was iron, because his men knew every order was law. I wrote it bluntly. If an injury is to be inflicted, it should be so severe that one need not fear retaliation. In psychological terms, this means, if you must set a boundary, make it decisive. Do not respond to every offense with small complaints. Do not chase every attack begging for respect. Make one calculated move so strong that it makes clear to everyone what your rank is. A practical example. A man in your circle interrupts you, ridicules you, undermines your authority little by little. The weak complain in private, hold grudges, seek approval. The strong wait for the right moment, then execute an action that leaves a scar, exposing him publicly with a truth that strips him bare, excluding him from a valuable space he craves, confronting him with such icy serenity that it reduces him to silence. The power of this law is not in frequency, but in decisiveness. One well-calculated move is worth more than 100 warnings. Those who bark constantly prove they have no bite. Those who strike once with force create a reputation that spreads on its own. True power does not repeat. True power teaches in a single act. Law 5. The mask that rules. The most naive mistake men make is believing that being valuable is enough for the world to recognize them. They toil in silence, trust their merits will speak, and end up ignored, while others with less talent earn respect and opportunity. I learned this by observing courts and palaces. Reality matters little. What rules is perception. That is why I wrote bluntly, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few feel what you are. Most do not have time to investigate your essence. They judge by quick signals, your bearing, your reputation, the symbols around you. If you do not shape this image, someone else will, and they will shape it against you. An example. A capable, prudent counselor gave years of loyal service to his lord. He trusted his character would be recognized. But another, less brilliant, carefully crafted gestures. He entered with confidence, cultivated favorable rumors, associated with men of renown. The first was forgotten. The second was elevated as indispensable. Why? Because perception became reality. Understand this. Your image is your currency. What you project defines how others treat you more than your true essence. How to apply this law? Control the story others tell about you. Speak of your achievements with measure, never your failures. Align with men of high value. Their prestige will reflect on you. Preserve an air of mystery. The unknown weighs more than the obvious. Make your physical presence an argument. Upright posture, firm voice, gaze that doesn't flinch. I have seen mediocre princes hold power for years because they mastered appearances. And I have seen virtuous men lose everything because they believed truth would shine on its own. Remember, perception is not ornament. It is power. Your reputation is your strongest shield and sharpest sword. Guard it more than your treasure, because when the world believes you are formidable, you already are, even if you haven't struck a single blow. Law 6. He who controls the story controls reality. Facts by themselves are weak. What men believe about them, that is what reigns. The same act can be told 1,000 ways. The prudent leader can be painted as a coward. The daring man can be called reckless. A victory can sound like tyranny. A defeat can be disguised as noble sacrifice. That is why I warned. Men judge more with their eyes than with their reason. They do not see what is. They see what is shown. Think of a lost battle. The mediocre general makes excuses, and history buries him in ridicule. The astute general declares his retreat was strategic, that he sacrificed ground to save his men. The defeat becomes a virtue. The same fact, told with a different voice. He who controls the story controls memory, and the memory of men is the true battlefield. How to apply this law? Never let others tell your story. Be the first to give your version. When attacked, do not respond only to words. Reframe them. Turn aggression into proof of your strength. If you triumph, explain it as the fruit of strategy and character, not luck. If you fail, present it as learning, as the seed of inevitable success. An example. An ambassador accused of treason did not deny the charges. He declared himself a victim of his own brilliance. He said princes feared him for his cunning. Rumor became fame, and fame became power. What could have been ruin became respect. Remember this. Facts die quickly, but stories endure. And it is not the purest actor who wins, but the one who makes others remember his act as greatness. He who controls the story controls reality, and he who controls reality no longer needs to justify himself. Law 7. Authority is born from consequences. Men do not respect words. They respect patterns. They respect systems that always respond the same. The weak argue, beg, threaten. The strong do not need to raise their voice. Their authority does not depend on emotions, but on the certainty that every action carries an inevitable consequence. I wrote, "The wise prince relies on what depends on him, not on what depends on others, not on pleas, not on promises, on structures that punish and reward without exception. A simple example: a courtier arrives late to his lord's audience. The weak reprimand with words, with sermons forgotten by tomorrow. The strong close the door. The courtier learns his carelessness left him outside and never arrives late again. One action, one clear consequence, one habit corrected. That is how the powerful rule. Respect my time, and you gain access. Disrespect my value, and you exclude yourself. Be consistent, and you receive. Be ungrateful, and you disappear. It is not punishment. It is a mechanism. The man who needs anger to impose respect is lost. The man who lets consequence speak for him never has to repeat his lesson. Ask yourself, how many in your life ignore your limits because they know nothing happens when they cross them? That is your mistake. You rely on emotion, not system. Build a world where your rules enforce themselves, where betrayal expels, where loyalty brings closer, where silence before disrespect is more cruel than any scream. Others will adjust to you, not because they fear a burst of rage, but because they know every act, every gesture, every fault will bring a certain consequence. That is true authority, cold, automatic, unquestionable. An invisible wall no one dares to challenge, and those who try never try twice. Law 8. Silence is the supreme form of domination. Insecure men shout their power. They brag about their conquests. They threaten to appear fearsome. But true strength makes no noise. Authentic power is felt, not announced. It is sensed in the gaze, in the calm, in the way an entire room shifts when you enter. I warned. The lion cannot protect himself from traps. The fox cannot protect himself from wolves. He who rules must be both, strong as a lion and cunning as a fox. And what do the lion and the fox have in common? The silence before the attack, the patient wait before the mortal move. Think of the men who intimidate most. Are they the ones who never stop talking? No. They are the ones who observe, who calculate while others react, who move pieces without announcing their plans. The weak need to shout to be heard. The strong turn every pause into a threat, every silence into uncertainty. That emptiness unsettles more than 1,000 speeches. How does silent domination work? You don't say what you'll do, you do it, and the surprise multiplies the impact. You don't threaten. You act once and let the scar speak for you. You don't seek recognition. Your influence grows in the shadows until your power is impossible to ignore. This is the ultimate secret. Domination is not visible. Domination is felt. It is the aura surrounding those who need prove nothing because they already control everything. Learn to stay silent when others demand your reaction. Learn to observe when others display themselves. Learn to move pieces in the dark. Silence is a weapon that confuses, disarms, terrifies. When others don't know what you think, what you plan, or how far you'll go, they begin to treat you as if you were capable of anything. That is power that needs no proclamation. That is the domination that makes a man into shadow, into legend, into destiny. And remember, he who masters silence already masters men.
Now you know. You have heard Machiavelli reveal truths few dare to speak, truths not found in ethics manuals, nor in sermons of virtue, but that have ruled the world for centuries. The question is no longer whether these laws exist. The question is whether you will have the courage to apply them, because while you decide, others already are. While you hesitate, others are using dark psychology to seize positions, respect, power. Time does not wait for the Naïve. Remember each principle. Do not expect justice where none exists. Master your emotions before someone else manipulates them. Demand respect before affection. Act decisively, without warning, without asking permission, and turn silence into the purest form of your domination.
I warned this 500 years ago. The man who understands these laws ceases to be a victim and becomes a force. Not all will have the courage to hear them. Fewer still will have the audacity to live them. The choice is yours. You can remain forgotten, or you can embody the power no one dares to defy. Do it now, before someone else does it to you.